Welcome, people. Today I'll be sharing lessons from Numbers 26 to 27. And we're basically picking up from the end of the story with Balaam and Balak. And from my research, I found out that we are starting this part, which actually occurs 38 years later, 38 years after, where we stopped, when God asked Moses to tell the children of Israel to attack the Midianites. So after the plague, God orders Moses and Eleazar to take a census of all the males in Israel aged 20 years and upwards. The Reubenites were 43,730. We learned that Korah's sons didn't die because they didn't participate in the rebellion. Remember Korah, the Kohathites, who got swallowed up along with the Reubenites, aka the coup plotters, or his sons survived. The Simeonites were 22,000. The sons of Gad were 40,500. Judah's clan, as usual, was the highest. It's 76,500. The sons of Issachar were 64,300. Zebulon, 60,500. Manasseh, 52,700. Ephraim, 32,500. Benjamin, 45,600. Dan, 64,400. Asher, 53,400. And Naphtali, 45,400. Now the total number of Israelites from this census was 601,730. So if you remember this first census from Numbers 1, the total was 603,550. Now, when I first read this, I thought, oh, after everybody died, it was just 100, like a difference of about 1,000 people. I was like, no, of course not, because so this is a new generation. So it makes me feel like God had like a cap number, or like a sort of average number of Israelites he wanted to go into the land, and that was a bit amusing to me. The census of this new generation was done to divide the land as inheritance. And so the way God ordered Moses to do this was the larger clans will get larger land allotments, and the smaller clans will get smaller allotments. But the allotment of of land had to be by lots. That was funny, confusing, but yeah. So all this were accounted for the first time, as everyone from the old generation which came out of Egypt had died, except Caleb and Joshua. So now this is an indicator that now they are really going into the land for real, because remember the Lord had said that none of those old rebellious people would go in except Joshua and Caleb. Now this was a very interesting part. The 5 daughters of Zelophehad of the tribe of Manasseh went to Joseph to plead their case for the inheritance. As their father had died in the wilderness, he was one of those that rebelled at Kadesh, when Miriam died, and he had no sons. Moses took the case to God, and he was told to give them their father's inheritance. We see God say yes, that their argument was right, and then he asked Moses to give them. We'll see in 36:10 to 11 when we get there that the Lord also commanded them to marry their cousins on their father's side, so that their land will still remain in their ancestral tribe. Remember, if you remember earlier, when God was giving the instructions for the Jubilee year, he said that the idea behind that was that the land will always go back to the tribe to which it was allotted. So I think this was, some sort of law to make sure that it stayed there. Then God commanded Moses to go up onto Mount Nebo and have a look at the land that he was giving to the Israelites. And after he sees it, he will die and be succeeded by Joshua. Now, on my trip to Jordan recently, I went to Mount Nebo, and the view from there was breathtaking. And I couldn't just imagine, being Moses, looking and knowing that I couldn't go in. Yeah. In his humility, Moses, though, he never complained about the punishment. He didn't say whether it was too severe. He didn't try to beg. In fact, I feel like he was even relieved. I was like, yeah, let me get rid of these people. But that wasn't it, because instead he told God, please, God, give them a leader I don't want them to be like sheep without shepherd. And then God ordered him to ordain Joshua to be his successor. And Joshua stood before Eleazar and the whole of Israel, and Moses laid his hand on him and commissioned him to lead the people. That's a really nice ending. Now here was my hashtag getting to know God lesson from these chapters. God is not only compassionate and generous, but also reasonable. I love how he immediately accepted the daughters of Zelophehad's request and also made it into law. So they brought it to him, and he saw that it was reasonable, and he was like, yes, give them the land. And now from now on, anyone who is in that situation gets that. And he also took into consideration other potentially similar situations, and I thought that was great. So it reminded me of that verse that says, God says, come reason with me. Even if your sin is as dark as scarlet, I will make it as white as snow. So I feel like, we should take that character of God away with us and not always look at him as this God that once he says something, that is it. He wants you to reason with him. He wants you to come with your arguments and, seek answers from him. I hope this blesses you in some way, and I'm excited with the book of Numbers. It's not what I thought all this time. I should have read it chronologically before now, but I'm happy to be doing it now with you. So tomorrow I'll be sharing lessons from Numbers 28 to 30, and I hope to see you here. Have a lovely evening. Bye.